Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. My name is Liaquat. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Right, so we are at the moment going through Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. If you guys like this series, please let me know, hit the like, subscribe button and leave a comment as well. If you guys are new to this channel and this is the first video that you guys are watching as well, please hit the subscribe button and tell me what you think of the channel and what kind of improvements you think I can make. Right, so let's continue with this then. We are almost near the end of the chapter of Hajj. I predict about 4 more lessons left and then we reach Buyu. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to skip out the tarkeeb and the words, right? So you guys tell me if you guys think it's better so that, you know, we can spend more time on the text. You guys let me know what you guys think. Yeah. Right, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so this now masala is continuing about the discussion about killing of the animals when a person is in the state of ihram. And we said this is prohibited, you can't hunt animals, but killing a domesticated animal. So the rule basically is that if you if you kill a domestic animal, that's okay. So it's domestic, then it's fine. And however, if it's an undomesticated animal and there was a wild animal, then the rule is that if it attacked you, so if it attacks you, then there's nothing, right? Then there's nothing at all. You don't have to pay a thing. But if it does not attack, right? It's not attack and you preempted it, right? So in that case, you have to give the jaza, right? So you're going to give a jaza over there. So that's the kind of general rule that you have. Now, what about things like small little insects and, you know, small little things? So what about insects? So there's nothing in insects. In fact, they say you basically give sadaqah, small amount. Yeah, small amount. It's a little bit of money to the poor. What about something like a locust? Yeah. So a locust. What about locust then? So it happened in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. A man came to him and he said, "I've killed the locust. What do I have to give?" So he said, "Give a date. Tamratun khayrun min jarada." Yeah, tamratun khayrun min, is his famous statement. A date is better than a locust. So that's it basically. So let's have a look at the text then. So he says, "Woman qatala qumulatan." Qumulatan is like lice. Tasaddaqa bima sha. He gives whatever amount he wants. Any small amount, just give it in charity. Woman qatala jaradatan, and whoever kills a jarada, locust, right? Tasaddaqa bima sha'a. He gives whatever he wants. However, Umar said, "Tamratun khayrun min jaradatin." A date is better than a jarada. So that's why something like a date would be okay there. Okay. Now, وَمَنْ قَتَلَ مَا لَا يُؤْكَلْ لَحْمُهُ مِنَ الصَّيْدِ كَالسِّبَاعِ وَنَحْوِهَا فَعَلَيْهِ الْجَزَاءُ. So whoever kills an animal, which is a wild animal, right, that is a predatory, but you don't eat it, right? So an animal that you do not eat. So for instance, like, you know, something like maybe a lion or anything of that sort of nature. Any sort of creature of that kind of nature, lion or anything like that, then you have to give the jaza. What is the jaza? So it cannot be it can't be more than a goat. Yeah, its jaza cannot be more than a goat. So he says, وَلَا يَتَجَاوَزُ. So وَمَنْ قَتَلَ. So whoever kills مَا لَا يُؤْكَلْ, that which is not eaten, its meat is not eaten, مِنَ الصَّيْدِ, of hunted animals, كَالسِّبَاعِ, like predatory animals, وَنَحْوِهَا فَعَلَيْهِ الْجَزَاء, he's got to give a jaza. وَلَا يَتَجَاوَزْ بِقِيمَتِهَا شَاتٌ, and its qima should not go beyond a goat. Right? So let's say, for example, the goat's value is £100. Then he's not going to give more than £100. What if an animal attacks you? Attack. وَإِنْ صَالَ السَّبْعُ عَلَى مُحْرِمٍ فَقَتَلَهُ, and he kills it, فَلَا شَيْءَ عَلَيْهِ, then there's nothing upon him to do. Alright? Okay. Next. What if you're kind of forced in a situation now? Right, so let's just try to move this a bit out of the way. So what if you're forced in a situation where you kind of like don't want to kill an animal, but you have to kill an animal because you're hungry and, you know, there's like a deer there and you really, you know, need to eat your food, right? So what about something like a deer? You're doing it because of hunger reasons. Again, you have to give the jaza, right? So man wa in udturra al-muhrimu, if the muhrimu is forced إلى أكل لحم الصيد, in eating the flesh of a sayd, like a deer, right? فقتله, and he kills it, فعليه الجزاء, then he's got to give the jaza. Right, so what's the jaza? He's going to have to give an animal which is similar in size of a deer. And if you can't find that, then what he does is he basically gets two guys who will value how much he owes. Now, if it's a domestic animal, then domestic animals are totally fine. ولا بأس, there's nothing wrong. أن يذبح المحرم, the muhrim slaughters الشاة, goat, والبقرة, a cow, والبعيرة, and a camel, والدجاجة, and chicken, والبط, and ducks that are kuskuri ducks. So kuskuri duck is like a domesticated one, it's a large one, like a goose. It's totally fine. Yeah. And what about something like a pigeon that has like feathers? I don't know what it's called in English. If you know what it's called, it's like a pigeon, but it's got lots of feathers on its feet, like it's wearing trousers. You call it musarwalan. Yeah. قتل حماما مسروالا. Or ضبيا, or a deer, مستأنسا, which is domesticated. Someone's brought it from outside the jungle, got it used to their house, and it lives amongst them. So what about this then? So these animals, let me just change the color of this. These animals, إن قتل حماما مسرولا أو ظبيا مستأنسا فعليه الجزاء. Then he's got to give jaza. So these animals do not fall, even though you domesticated them, they're not really domesticated. Right? So these animals naturally are undomesticated animals. So therefore, animals like that wild pigeon that's domesticated, and also a deer, domesticated deer, these animals, you have to give jaza even if you kill it. Right? So you've got to give jaza. Okay, so this is one part of the masla. Now, next part of the masla is, what if a person, okay, this text actually has become a bit lost. Let me just open this up. Okay, a second. Alright, that's better. So what about slaughtering? So let's say someone else has captured the animal. There's another guy. He has captured the animal. So he's the catcher. He's caught the animal. This is the animal. He's laid it down on the ground. Now you've come along. You're a muhrim. So you're in ihram. Right? So you're in your ihram clothing. This is muhrim. And you are the one that is going to slaughter the animal. So someone else has captured it who's not a muhrim. Are you allowed to slaughter it? No, you cannot slaughter the animal. In dhabaha, if a muhrim person was to slaughter a sayd, was to slaughter a wild animal, a hunted animal, فَذَبِيحَتُهُ, then his slaughtered animal will be mayta, will be counted as haram. You can't eat any of it. It's like a pig. لَا يَحِلُّ, it's not halal, أَكْلُهَا, to eat it, وَلَا بَأْسَ. Okay, that's done. So لَا يَحِلُّ أَكْلُهَا. Next masala. So it's got quite a few masalas here. Now, what if another person, so let's say, for example, in this situation, you did not slaughter it, someone else slaughtered it. Yeah, so this other guy was the one that slaughtered it. So this is a non-muhrim. He slaughters the animal, and then he invites you to eat it. Are you allowed to eat it? You're the muhrim. Must be a muhrim guy there. It's a bit funny. So he's the one that slaughters it. Can you eat it? So as long as you didn't help him in any shape and form, then you can eat it. Yeah, that's the rule. So وَلَا بَأْسَ, there's nothing wrong. أَنْ يَأْكُلَ الْمُحْرِمُ, that a muhrim person eats the lahm sayd, the hunted animal's flesh. إِسْتَادَهُ حَلَالٌ, that a halal person, a non-muhrim, he captured it, وَذَبَحَهُ, and slaughtered it. إِذَا لَمْ يَدُلُّهُ الْمُحْرِمُ, so long as the muhrim had nothing to do with signifying, indicating that there's the animal. Right? If as long as you didn't help him, then it's fine. وَلَا أَمَرَهُ, nor did he instruct him بِصَيْدِ, to capture it. Right, so that's fine. Okay, so now we've learnt, as long as you got nothing to do with it and some other random guy has captured the animal and he's not a muhrim, you're allowed to eat it. But you slaughter it, or you capture it, or you indicate it, then you can't. Right, next masala. So okay, what about things like the sayd of the haram? So remember we said in the haram, the vicinity of the haram. So let's say, for instance, this is Makkah. Okay, so let's say the Kaaba. It's a bit of a Unfortunately, missed a picture I've done there. That's the Kaaba. The Haram is a large area that people live in, right? So people have their hotels here. And this area is called the Haram. Okay. And then outside the Haram is called the Hill. Right. This is inside the Miqat. Okay. The Miqat obviously is a bigger. So in this area over here, no one is allowed to hunt all these animals that we said before. Even a halal person is not allowed to do those things. Okay, inside the hill area. So this is the hill area, the Haram area, rather, the Haram area. You can't do any of these acts over here. Right? So he says, وَفِي صَيْدِ الْحَرَمِ, and the Sayd of the Haram, إِذَا ذَبَحَهُ الْحَلَالُ, if a halal person was to slaughter it, فَعَلَيْهِ الْجَزَاءُ. Right? So even the halal person, the non-muhrim person is not allowed to do it. Now, remember we said about trees as well. So there's a rule as well. Inside this Haram area, right, you're not allowed to cut any trees that are naturally growing ones. Right? So naturally growing ones that you haven't like planted. You can't slaughter, you can't cut any of those, even if you are non-muhrim. So in qata'a hashish al-haram, whoever cuts, if a person was to cut the grass of the haram, or shajarahu, or its trees, alladhi laysa bimamlukin, that are public, that are not privately owned, mamluk, owned. Wala huwa mimma yumbituhu an-nas, it's not one of those trees which people grow, yumbituhu, to grow. فَعَلَيْهِ قِيمَتُهُ, then he has to pay its qima, its value. So anyone has to pay its value. You're not allowed to. All right. There's only one tree that's actually exempted in the haram, which is the idkhar tree. I don't know in English what the idkhar tree is called. Maybe you guys can find that, put in the comments. But that's the only one. So the rule, if I was to write it down over here then, the rule would be this then. So any tree that is a public tree, you cannot. So any public tree besides the idkhar, yeah, there is jaza. You gotta pay him for it. And all other trees, other trees are fine. Yeah, that's the kind of rule. Okay, next. What does it say? وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ فَعَلْهُ الْقَارِنَ. All of the rules that we've said above, everything that a qarin, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ فَعَلْهُ الْقَارِنَ مِمَّا ذَكَرْنَا, of all the like offences that have been committed, if a qarin does it, أَنَّ فِيهِ عَلَى الْمُفْرَد, where a mufrad person has to give one dam, فَعَلَيْهِ الدَّمَانِ, so the qarin has to give two dams. Yeah, so remember we said that if, for example, you miss a particular tawaf, or you have sexual intercourse at a certain time, etc., you got to give dam. Well, qarin is double. So dam li hajjatihi, one dam for the hajj, one dam for the umrah, because a qarin has combined two. So I don't have time, but ideally what you can do is just write down over here, like the mufrid, yeah, and the qarin, and then you just say basically all of the things that the mufrid has to give one dam, yeah, one, then the qarin has to give two for them, yeah, two, double, because one is for the umrah and one is for the hajj, because that ihram is for two things. Okay, umrah and hajj. Illa, except for one act, one offense. What's that one offense? Illa an yatajawaz, unless he crosses the miqat. So unless the guy in ihram doesn't finish his hajj and goes and leaves, gets in his car, goes beyond the miqat, min ghayri ihramin, thumma yuhrimu bil umrati wal hajj fayalzamuhu damun wahid. Yeah, so this one guy who goes in his car, crosses the miqat. Let me show you guys how this happens. So let's say, for instance, like this is the miqat. All right, so for instance, so this is the miqat. So remember, there's 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here, 1 point here. There's 5 points of the miqat. So some guy comes for hajj, and basically what he does is he enters the area, right? So he enters, let's say, this area, goes straight through. Yeah. So tajawaz al-miqat, tajawaz al-miqat min ghayri ihram, without ihram. So without ihram. Thumma yuhrimu bil umrati wal hajj. Then over here he does the ihram of hajj and umrah. then in that case, يلزمه دم واحد, only one dam, because technically he hasn't done his umrah basically. Yeah, he's only going to have one ihram, so therefore it's only one, yeah, for the hajj. Okay, next one. وإذا اشترك المحرمان في قتل صيد فعلى كل واحد منهما الجزاء. If two muhrims are involved in killing one animal, then both of them have to give a separate jaza each, kamilan, right, complete jaza. So two guys kill one deer. Normally if one guy kills a deer, he's got to give a goat. Two guys kill a deer, each one's got to give one goat. And if three, then five, then five. Yeah, so the crime is not split between the two. Each one has to suffer pain, pay the full penalty. Okay. Next. وإذا اشترك الحلالان, if two halal people في قتل صيد الحرم فعليهما جزاء واحد. However, if two people inside this area of the haram, if they were to kill one hunted animal, then they only have to give one. That's the difference. So they only have to share one. Right? If three people, share one. 5 people, share one. Finally, وَإِذَا بَاعَ الْمُحْرِمُ, if a muhrim person sells a hunted animal or he buys فَالْبَيْءُ بَاطِل, that transaction will be considered to be void, invalid, like buying and selling a pig. Absolutely not allowed. And that's it, guys. So I hope you guys like this. If you guys miss me explaining the words and doing a bit of tarkeeb, put it in the comments so I know if you guys want me to continue it. Otherwise, this makes it easier for me. All I have to do is just start explaining the text. So let's just summarize what we covered today. So today we talked about the killing of the animals. Wild animals, domesticated animals. If it's a wild animal, then we said that if it attacks you, there's nothing. Then there's nothing. If, however, it doesn't attack you, then you got to give a jaza. Yeah. So like a deer, you were hungry or something and you killed a deer or whatever. And if it's an animal that is not normally eaten by Muslims don't eat it, then you have to give jaza, but it should not go beyond the value of a goat. What if an insect, give just sadaqah. What if a locust, give sadaqah, but Umar radiallahu anhu said, tamratun khayru min jarada. Domesticated animals is fine, nothing's wrong, but if you domesticate a wild animal and you kill that, you got to give a jaza. Okay, what about the catching? So if one guy, halal guy, catches an animal and you slaughter the animal, then the animal is not permissible for you to eat. But if a non-muhrim, a halal person, catches and slaughters the animal, then it's okay for you to eat. Anything which a mufrid has to give a blood, then the qari has to give 2, except for one scenario where he enters the miqat and does ihram within, then only 1. And we said all the trees inside, public trees, cannot be cut except for the idkhar. And all trees that are grown by people, they can be cut inside the haram area. And that's it really. All right, so hope you guys benefit from this. Let's have a look at some questions then. Okay. Right, so what is the rule for killing a domestic animal in the city of ihram? So the rule is that it is wrong, it's an offense and requires a jaza. What is the my mistake. What is the rule for killing a domestic animal? So domestic animal is a jaiz, you can, but if you domesticated it and it was a naturally wild animal, then no. Yeah, then you need a jaza. What is the rule for killing an animal that attacks muhrim? Then that's fine, because that's not your fault. There's nothing you have to pay. Is there a jaza for if a halal person kills a deer? Yes, there is no jaza. There is no jaza. It's fine. Halal person can. Are you allowed to kill locust? And what did Umar say? So Umar said that if you kill a locust, then giving a date would be sufficient, and you can kill them. What's the ruling for cutting trees in the Haram district? Not allowed to if it's a public tree. If it's a private tree, then yes, you can. What happens if 2 muhrims hunt an animal? Then each one has to pay a separate jaza. And can a muhrim sell hunted meat? No. If he hunted it, then he can't. And that's it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Thank you very much for my patrons for supporting this channel. If any of you guys want to become patrons, support my channel, please check out the description below. And I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.